We are live. Welcome back to part two of the debate or the conversation. I definitely wanted to go back over that story because I was getting a lot of questions about it last night from people in the Discord messaging me. But let's just start with an introduction again. I already know we did an introduction last time, but for all the people that haven't seen you before on here.
Yeah, my name is Jade. I'm 24. I call myself the urban conservative because I specialize on urban issues, centering around urban design, trying to desegregate cities and do what liberals kind of failed to do for the past 80 years.
Yeah, I was watching some of your videos on that. That's definitely very, very, very interesting. Do you want to talk about that for a second while we wait for some people to join in? Tell us what you think about because I was watching your video on how to do a band-aid fix on the what is it called? The Brooklyn Bridge, I guess, or the Brooklyn
Oh,
overpass.
the BQE.
Yeah, the
Yes.
BQE.
Yeah, so really, I'm just a total nerd with this stuff. So sometimes I look at it and I'm like, well, there's a very clear solution here. And I beams are super cheap in New York. There's I beam manufacturers nearby. So if you just take like 16 by 20 I beams and install this into this triple cantilever structure, which let's actually go back to the BQE. It's called the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, and it's an expressway in New York that's deteriorating. It's going to fall apart soon, and people are going to die when it happens, but it's caught in political gridlock because people can't agree on how to rebuild it without disturbing the promenade, the park on top. So I came up with like a temporary solution to last us until we have enough money to completely reroute it temporarily or something crazy like that. And check it out on my channel. It just uses like some simple I beams to throw in between the slots of the triple.
Sorry, my headphones I think just disconnected. You're gonna have to give me a minute here. I know they can hear you. Something with my headphones. Connecting, connecting. Try saying something. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. So, what did you think? Well, I'm getting a lot of random sound in the background. Oh, I think I'm playing some videos. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. How's everybody doing in the comment section today? Hello, Chris. Hello, Lee Sunset. We can't hear y'all. Are you sure about that? It says it's picking up sound for me. We can't hear. What about now? Oh, they can't hear you. That's the problem. Hold on. Give me a second with that. Try now.
Testing, testing.
Yep,
I'm
yep, they can
Jade,
hear
the
you.
urban conservative.
Yeah, they can hear you
Awesome.
now. So, did you watch any of the other debates with the transgenders that I posted or no?
No, although I have walked in on one when I was scrolling through the lives.
Is that when you
And
first
that one
joined
seemed
in?
like I believe so. It was an individual that was utilizing prosthetics. Um, and I had to call it out in the chat. I was like, wait a minute, that's not. Yeah, I have an issue with prosthetics because I had an ex who was a total chaser, and he told me to wear prosthetics, and I was just, no, why would you do that? Why would you make me do that? Fuck you. So it triggered me, and ever since then, I'm like, no, that's
What are prosthetics? Like prosthetic breasts?
yes. So silicone breast prosthetics, which you'll be like basically just a top made out of silicone with fake breasts on it. And you basically like put it on kind of like a crop top, and then you put other clothes on top of it to give you the appearance of um, breasts, if that makes sense. To me, it just gets kind of weird. It's crossing the lines between trans and drag, really. And it just seems like a fetishization, honestly.
So you don't think that person is trans? Or how do you feel about that in general? Do you think those people aren't trans if they have prosthetics? I didn't. It didn't seem like they really wanted to tell me if they were wearing prosthetics or not.
Yeah, they did confirm. It was in the stream if you go back. Because I felt vindicated when they confirmed, because like I was like, wait a minute. Basically that individual wouldn't align with my definition of like transsexual, but as we discussed in the previous stream, transgender is a different ballgame, and I could totally apply them within that subgroup, I would say. Um, but
Is
I'm
a
not going to gender
cross-dresser
them.
in the group as well? Like, are they considered trans as well, or is that something different?
I think they're considered transgender, if that makes sense, or at least they're included in the community. The community. Um, but that's a whole other ball game. Trans
Yeah, someone
conservatives usually
says. Yeah, someone says that person is a drag queen in my book. That's what they said.
exactly. Additionally, like trans conservatives, we do have an issue with like cross dressers, because a lot of them, they don't own that clothing, if that makes sense, and that's weird, and fetishization. And if a female has ownership of a garment, and you're finessing it to put on and take photos to send to people, which is what a lot of cross dressers do, it's just not cool. It's not appropriate. If there is any God watching, he's seeing you steal another person's clothes to imitate them. Take gender out of it. That is weird. So it's kind of a weird ball game. But a lot of trans people start by cross dressing. But me, I paid for everything myself in full.
I saw some of your videos before. Like, how quick was the transition for you? Like, when did you start? Was it just one day you woke up, or was it a slow process of thinking about it? And by the way, I do want to call out Poly Politics, and I'll post it as in a clip and tag him if you're comfortable with it, because I think it'd be funny to put a clip out there of him about you talking about how basically liberals don't recognize transgender conservatives, and he just did what he did to you and tried to say that you're fake and that your identity isn't real. The same exact thing they accuse us of doing, mind you.
It's so funny. I think it's yeah, I'm absolutely okay with it, and I do think it's very funny because um yeah, liberals are quicker to degender you, typically, if that makes sense. Whereas like a Republican or conservative, you could have a conversation with, and if you've already gained their respect enough to be gendered properly, they're not gonna degender you if you have a fundamental disagreement on ideas. Whereas a liberal will revoke that pass from you. I don't see you as a woman no more. You don't support Palestine, right? So it's
What
that kind
happened
of
with
stuff.
Poly Politics?
Makes sense.
Basically, you just called into his show and told him that you were a conservative transgender, and he said you don't exist.
It was Johnny Pomodessa. I think he might be poly politics, but yes. I called into his show, and initially he's like, "You don't exist. You don't exist." So then I'm like, "Yes, I do." I did a little pushback, and he's like, "Hypothetically, let's say you're not a troll. Let's continue." And I was like, "Well, Biden kind of sucked." And then he was like, "Goodbye, peace out," and it was pretty solid. Um, and it was a cool experience for me because like my first time being like on a show and calling into someone, and it was nothing but pushback. Like he did not even want to hear it. But I did gain a good amount of subs from it. There are a good amount of people watching poly politics who are conservative, I guess, which is pretty cool.
Was it Johnny Parmadessa or Poly Politics?
It was Johnny Pomodessa.
Okay, Johnny Parmadessa. Okay, that's two different people then. So it was Johnny. I won't
Okay.
tag Poly
Sorry.
Politics because that's somebody else. But yeah, no, I can definitely
Yeah.
see that. He's going viral right now because he's doing this dumb thing where he lives in LA, I guess, and he's posting every single day the star of Trump or his Hollywood star in LA. of
Oh
where
God,
he
that's
got the
so
star, and
cringe.
he's like showing it every single day. He's like day 102 of showing Donald Trump's star in Hollywood.
He
And
lives rent free in some people's minds to the point that property associated with him is something that they need to watch like very closely just to see what happens to it as a representation of what they wish would happen to him. It's kind of funny.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty true, but how do you feel? Do you ever feel like you need to stand up and give pushback? Because yesterday you said you don't want trans women going into real women's bathrooms, even if they did do the sex change. Do you ever feel like you need to give pushback because there's not many transgender voices speaking about it? And whenever I talk about it, I just get accused of. They always love to say this. They love to say whenever Republicans talk about transgender issues or LGBTQ issues, they tell you, oh, all you think about is wiener. Well, what's wrong with that? Now you're using homosexuality in a degrading manner. You're the one that said you supported it, and
I
you're an
haven't heard you
ally to
mention
the
that.
LGBTQ.
Yeah, I have not mentioned that one bit, but that's a very liberal technique where they will like claim something is so good, but then if it's bad in a way that appeals to you, they will use it to assault you. An example with like urban design, um, they do the same thing with the interstate freeways. They're like the interstate freeways tore up cities and they displaced so many people. So then they'll diss you with that. But then when it's time for them to claim the interstate, they'll say, oh, the interstate was a socialist program, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm sorry, guys. You got to pick one.
Well, I don't know if they like it or hate it, but it doesn't seem like they like it. I had one guy tell me that he has a degree in economics and that he knows that we need to privatize all the public roads, including the interstate highway system. That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. I mean, we don't
Push
even got to
back on
get
that.
into it. Go ahead. Push
I'm
back
going
on
to push
that.
back on that one for
Go ahead.
sure.
Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, our interstates suck. They're all like poor quality right now. Like basically all of them are falling apart except for specific tollways. And realistically, there is another approach to an industry of such, which is like a tiger economy, which is what Korea or Japan did with their roadways. And their greater economy as well, where they just promote kind of a 45% market share of a company being the lowest tax burden. So companies are just encouraged to compete with each other to provide you the best possible product. Now, AI completely crashed that form of economy. But that economy would be so fucking good with the interstates because then we would actually get functional interstates for a very small fee, like 25, 30 cents. Like the old Pennsylvania Turnpike, you just throw that in, and it would be two major companies competing with each other.
I mean,
And
like
they might
toll
have cool
roads,
stuff.
that's a little bit different. He was talking about instead of
Yeah,
the government paying for the roads or the government being involved in the business, it would be solely up to the community to pitch in money to pay for the roads, which would be basically impossible for poor neighborhoods. They would just have like a gravel road, and rich neighborhoods would
it
have
should.
like, I guess, a road of gold or something. I don't know.
Yeah, um, the argument does make sense, but I'm talking specifically about interstates. So his argument doesn't make sense in that why would you do like neighborhood roads? Like what even? Because the neighborhood roads don't serve a purpose that you could sell to a customer otherwise than just being what our society is fucking built on. Um, but the interstate, it's a grade separated fucking freeway that serves a very specific purpose of getting you from point A to B in a very fast time. Simple as.
It was made for tanks and airplanes to land on too from our federal government. We got some talks in the chat about Israel. Someone says, I choose Israel. Someone says, why Israel? Someone says, free Palestine. What's up, everybody?
Clearly, Israel got better freeways, you guys. So it's very clear who we should side with.
Because they have better freeways, we should side with them. Queers for
Not
Palestine,
necessarily.
queers for Palestine should get sent to Gaza. Oh,
Yeah,
here we
send them
go.
there. Let them do the humanitarian aid.
For whatever reason, your buddy Sock Cap, the same guy that was using Gemini to debate you, he says, "Can you ask
Yeah.
her why she supports a party that fundamentally hates her and wishes she didn't exist?" That's completely incorrect. I've never heard a single Republican saying they wish trans people didn't exist. If you can show me a clip, please send it to me. Please play it for me because I'm begging. No Republican politician has said that. No, and the majority of Republicans have never said that. Not that I've ever seen before. It probably happened once or twice before. But no, we don't have an issue with the trans community. The main issue is that we don't want transgender women in women's bathrooms and women's spaces. We don't want transgender women in women's sports. I mean, why is that so hard to understand for hardcore Democrat liberals? We have a transgender woman right here that literally agrees with me. If you can agree with me and say it's a problem, then I don't know why, like a liberal, straight, white man can speak on the trans issues or thinks he can speak on it. I'm asking, obviously he can speak on these issues, but if a transgender person is here agreeing with me, that gives it more validation, does it not?
Yes, and additionally, I need to push back on him because I believe it was just a couple days ago. There was actually a Democratic senator that's running. He's like having a town hall, and I think it was Maine, or the dude said he was from Maine. But a Democrat goes up there and he says, "I'm from Maine, and I'm a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat, but I don't support you faggocrats." And I just gotta say, like, the Democrats do it to themselves too. So it's not an exclusively Republican issue. It's just that's what they'll specifically show you, especially if you're trans, so that you go to that side. I mean, there's a lot of money into it to trying to get trans people to be Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He hasn't
If
really
you could
said
convince
anything. Go
somebody
ahead.
that their only way to survive is by voting for you, you have a voter for life. So they have a financial imperative to convince people that they're not going to survive, which is, it's messed up. It shouldn't be allowed to scare people like that. If you go on like Instagram with the old trans community from the last Overton window, all those people right now are just like screaming at the very top of their lungs that there's like a trans genocide, this and that. But it's like, realistically, like, we're chill.
Yeah.
I
Someone
mean,
told me that they're
there's some
taking
legal
trans
issues.
people's rights away or they're taking people's rights away. What rights have been taken away by Donald Trump? I'm begging to know. I mean, if he's a king, if he
Their
was a king,
gender
he would
rights.
arrest you.
The gender rights permitted by the Democrat Party. So the country never permitted them, but Democrats, specifically in blue states, gave them the right to identify as a mental sex as opposed to a sex, like get a conversion. They allowed
My
people that
question is why do Democrats get to judge trans people and say that Republicans hate them? You don't get to say who hates who. You don't just get to make stuff up on the fly and just try to, guilt trip into people, try to pressure people into coming to your political side. That's not how you do it. Constantly having
I
Trump
believe
derangement syndrome and being obsessed with Trump and saying he's ruining this country over and over and over and over again is not how you get people to come to your side. Like they still don't, they
exactly.
still haven't figured that out yet. I guess they're still trying to like
Yeah.
pressure people in any kind of methods to get them to comply, basically.
And additionally, it feels entitled when, they completely disrespect me when they find out that I'm conservative because it's like, did you think you owned me as a voter just because I was trans? Did you think you had me in the bag and that I was guaranteed? That's not very ethical of you. You should give me an argument on why I should vote for you, other than they're gonna kill you. Like, all right,
Oh,
like,
here's his response. Here's his response. After all of us saying that much stuff, here's his response. There's no more trans people in the military. Boo. That's what he said.
all right, okay, a little bit of pushback. We should allow trans men in the military. All right, they got something to prove, for real. Okay, But
They
like,
got something to prove. If they want to join the military, they can. If you're trans and you
mhm.
really really want to join the military, just don't take any hormones, don't take any testosterone or estrogen, and then you can literally join and just lie and say you're not trans. It's really that simple. So they really can't even prevent you from coming into the military if you're trans, as long as you don't take any estrogen or testosterone. And I don't care if I think the main thing that they did with that, like I said before, is just making sure that no one taking testosterone or estrogen, because like you mentioned last time, a lot of trans people like to overdose on estrogen, and they like to overdose on testosterone to speed up the transitioning. And a time of combat or a time of military training, that can be a serious problem. But if they're not taking any of that stuff, then they can identify, as a straight person, just sign the documents, and a regular heterosexual non-trans person, they can sign the documents and join the military. There's nothing stopping from them doing that.
So yeah, like a typical normal dosage of estrogen out of the needle, for example, is 4 to 5 milliliters. Usually they start you at 2 and work up from there. But I have seen girls on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts that are straight up doing like 25 on Charlie Kirk way, and it's like the disrespect,
I've seen
the
that video
the
before,
blatant
yeah.
overdose. Oh my gosh, I just saw the poll and I was like, there is no way it's that much, because realistically, when you do OD, every trans girl finds this out after a while. It just fucks up your libido, it fucks up your energy, it fucks up your personality. It makes you insufferable in basically every way, to yourself and to others. So there's like, in the end, there's no reason to overdose. And most trans girls, after a while, just stop overdosing because, yeah, I don't know about trans dudes though. I don't know too much about tea and that kind of stuff. I think,
Pretty sure it's pretty
yeah,
similar.
yeah, I know that they could take shots, do patches, or do like a gel, but I don't know if they could do pills.
What do you think about the Democrat Socialist Party, though? They said that they want to abolish the Senate, they want to abolish the presidency, they want to abolish the three branches of government. They even have their own constitution on their website. I don't know if that means they want to abolish the Constitution and put their own constitution or what, but everything that they seem to try to be doing is against their Constitution. The same people crying
I
saying
agree
Trump
on
is
that.
violating the Constitution, even though they can't mention how.
Yeah, they want to get rid of the Constitution and get rid of the Senate. But when I was over here saying, hey, Vivek Ramaswamy is right, that he should get rid of the SEC and, the EPA, the FBI, and the CIA, we got federal marshals. Oh, they were calling me a radical that wanted to like overthrow the government, basically. And I'm like, so you want to take away the Constitution? I want to take away government agencies that were made by rando people after the Constitution. Sorry, not rando, like important people, but they were made by people well after the Constitution, and the Constitution never thought of these agencies existing. Like, how how is that not comparable? Um, I don't know. So that's why I can't respect their stuff, because they didn't respect Vivek when he was out there trying to fix our government, slim it down in his own way.
And with abolishing of ICE, I think people like Renee Good and Alex Preddy definitely got what they were asking for. I mean, that's a very controversial take, but they were literally violent criminals. Renee Good tried to run over a police officer. She went there that day. She dropped her kid off at school, and then she drove to where ICE agents were. She stopped her car and started harassing them.
Yeah, and these people consistently say that they're just, what do they call it, viewers? Or they're trying to apply the same legal protections to themselves that journalists get. Oh, they're legal observers. But if you're a group of more than 5, you're chanting something, and nobody there has a DLSL or like a big camera, a normal like video recorder, and no one is squatting, like, those are protesters. Those are not like I have gone to the BLM protests when that happened back in Denver just to be a person recording it. And like they had like basically police out there telling people how you're supposed to do it if you want these legal protections to apply to you. And it's just pretty simple. If you're interviewing someone, you need a t-shirt that says press or just something on you that says press. Okay, but otherwise, you don't even need that. You just need to like stand alone, right? You can't be standing in groups of like more than four. Obviously, if you got a big camera rig, you could have three people. But if you're a single person with the camera, you can't be standing with a group. You can't be chanting, and you definitely need to be squatting. If you look at all these videos of the protests, the videographers are always squatting. Okay, so
Do you still support the Black Lives Matter movement, or have you felt a little bit different about it in the recent years?
I supported it before I went to the protest. And then I went to the protest, and like someone was doing a speech, you could probably pull it up on YouTube, but then they like called me out and they like walked through the crowd and they're like, look at this white person here. This is a colonizer. They shouldn't even be here. And I was like, I was there with like that gypsy girl that I had been with that I talk about. And she was like totally Democrat. My family had always been Democrat too. And like, when the Ferguson shooting happened, I was like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, that's when I was Black Lives Matter. But after that
What about
incident, when
George
I went in
Floyd? Do you think
there,
he died of fent, or do you think he died from his neck being whatever they say? I don't know, stood on.
he died from being stood on for sure.
So you
And
think
I
that
know
was a
that's a
wrongful
weird
thing?
take for a conservative,
I heard it before
but
from some conservatives.
I don't think it was necessarily given his previous record, his previous run-ins.
I mean, he pointed
But
a gun at a pregnant woman.
exactly, and the main thing that I want to like emphasize that I feel like a lot of conservatives leave out just because they like haven't lived in a black community is that like black people can do fentanyl and live. They're good at that shit. Like I'm sorry, but like in the West
fentanyl,
End when I was
fentanyl can
living
kill
there,
anybody.
it's
It doesn't
simple
matter
as
your skin color.
when I was living in the West End, it's simple as they were like, time to drink lean. And I was like, where's your guys' freaking lean? You know, like the cough syrup. And they're like, no, we just take a single fentanyl pill, which they sell as blue 30s, which are like um, there used to be oxys, but they discontinued them. So it's a very good indicator of this is a high quality
So they're
fentanyl pill,
crushing
basically.
fentanyl pills and drinking it.
No, they split it into an eighth, and then they crush 1/8 and put that eighth into a 2 liter. Okay, and that's the amount to have a comparable high to like normally, because it's opioids. So it's just boom, boom, like equal. Um, so like after seeing that firsthand and seeing like over 50 people do fentanyl for a year and a half with no issue, I was like, yeah, like he didn't die from the fentanyl. Like he could hang for sure.
You really think
Like
that? Like, you don't think fentanyl is one of the most deadliest drugs in the world right now?
it is
And
when
that's
you're
a
tricked
sized
into
pill.
it.
That's a little bit of different. That's literally a sized out pill. Like fentanyl on the street when it's powdered, you have no idea how much you're taking. Like it's extremely easy to overdose. Not to mention he was using fake money. So that's why he got the cops called on him. So like everything he did that led up to his death is basically all his fault. He tried to use a fake $20 bill. He could have just left and went home and ran away, but he was arguing with the store clerk about it. They called the cops, and then the cops came. They put him in the back of the car. He started struggling with the cop, and he jumped out of the back of the car, and he ended up on the ground. And I think he could have swallowed his. If he had powdery fentanyl in his pocket, he probably took it.
Additionally, I want to make a huge point, which that is 100% right. If he had the rest of that 30 left, he would have definitely popped that shit. Because addicts in the hood, when they're fiending, they'll pop a whole 30, and like barely live through it. But like they do that shit all the time. Um, I'm sorry, what was the first part of my statement that I said? I got
That you
distracted by
that you
joking
some
about
you were
the
talking
30.
about how he died from fent, or how he didn't die from fent. He died from stepping on his neck or whatnot.
Yeah, let's move on because I
There is a
forgot what I was
liberal
saying.
in chat. If you want to debate sock, that would be really, really interesting. I could just moderate it. I mean, it's up to you.
Uh, he's a wizard with Gemini. I don't trust him. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. George ran from the cops and tripped over his lip. Okay, yeah, that's a bit racist. I'm not gonna lie. Let's
Holy
see. Yeah,
shit.
George Floyd. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's like a pretty bad guy. Oh yeah, someone.
Oh,
I saw a comment up there
I
that.
remember.
Go ahead.
Additionally, I want to mention something about like how that happened. A lot of people didn't necessarily care like if it was real or not. What they cared about was having a space to protest and be a protester. Because that was right after like the lockdowns kind of started or the economy started being weird. And then the Hong Kong protests happened. And in Colorado, where I lived, everyone was watching them on Facebook and everyone was like crying, shedding tears over it because as Americans, it was our first exposure to young people fighting for freedom, you know, fighting for values that we agree with and that we were taught were good values. And it proved to us for the very first time that those values are observably worth fighting for across the world. So we're like, yeah, freedom. All right, let's do this. Let's go protest something. Let's do something. So when it actually happened, there were so many people just trying to get downtown to protest that Denver had to shut the RTD system down like completely, just to avoid downtown becoming overcrowded with like half of Colorado's population. It was insane.
What was this over? The Black Lives Matter, the George
Um,
Floyd thing?
hmm hmm
Were they
When it
burning down
happened, and
cities in Colorado, or was that just some other parts of?
yes, yes, and that was the craziest part of it for me. They didn't do like a full on looting, but they beat up a police officer, and then like the whole crowd was chasing this other police car down the street, and like I had to go with as part of the crowd, and like I still feel like guilty about that. Like, and he did that for like 25, 40 minutes. Like I had to go back to the square at one point, like the Denver square in front of the Denver Capitol building. Um, while they were chasing the cops around, and that's actually when the guy ran up to me, like, well, walked up to me with the microphone and bamboozled me. So like I, my experience with that was so negative. I just I can't get with it. Like I couldn't ever get with it after that because they chased cops around. That like, wait, I like those cops. Wait a minute, wait, I like that officer. Like, so it was weird. It was definitely such a weird time, and I'm happy that we are out of that era. I'm happy that the world is a little bit more safe for cops. I think so, at least.
Well, if the Democrat Socialists get in power, they wanted to fund the police, defund the police. Who's going to protect them then? They're like the first people to call the cops.
Yeah, let's make everywhere like St. Louis, where you can only get private police if you're rich. That sounds terrible. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy.
Yeah, no, that is 100% crazy. But can we hear the story? Like the kidnapping part was when they held you at gunpoint, right?
Wait, the kidnapping was what?
The kidnapping was when you got held by gunpoint in the last story, right?
Yes, yes. It was
Can we
like my
go through
own
that
place. It was more of
chronologically a little bit slowly, a little bit
yeah. It's,
slower, and a little bit more chronologically?
so chronologically speaking, I I moved here to St. Louis from Denver in 2023, and I skipped over. I worked at another job for a year, and that was like my last stint at being a cis dude. I just wanted to see like if the world had a spot for me, basically. So I went like super hard at that job. I managed the whole joint. And then I was like, yo, I need a pay raise. Like I need paid like enough to like not be put up to work at this job. Because a lot of jobs you got to be put up at to like even work at because it costs money to work there. Basically, just with the cost disparity of the cost of living. I'm like, look, I want this job to pay for itself, you know? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, peace. And I was like, that was my last attempt at like being a man because that was basically my last ladder that I had access to, like to ascend the economic opportunity ladder. Um, while I was young, before I hit like the biological wall, and she's just um, a selfish business owner that just wanted to keep the money basically. Um, and also like there's potential that she would have paid me, but um, the situation that it was when I demanded a pay raise was because I had leverage. It was because I had like 30 computers lined up and like consoles and laptops lined up to fix during winter break right before Christmas. And then she understaffed the joints. And I was like, you won't understaff me with like 30 things lined up? You want me to get done in 10 hours? Okay. And you're only going to pay me for 8? Fuck you. I didn't say that, but I was like, no, you got to pay me. Nothing's getting done unless we come to an agreement. And she's like, well, we got to talk about it after you fix it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. So I just like walked out. And then my apprentice, he actually got the job, the whole manager job of the joint. And now he's a regional manager. I'm so proud of him. But she still doesn't pay him as much as she even paid me. So he's getting paid less than me. And it's like, oh, it's like slavery, man. It's so bad.
Hold on, hold on. I accidentally disconnected. Give me 1 second. They can't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? Just give me 1 second. I know, I know. You guys can't hear. Give me a second. I don't know what keeps happening with Discord or whatnot. Actually, I think I know what's happening. It's connecting to the headphones are connecting to my phone. Can you hear me now? Say something. And the headphones disconnected. What is going on, guys? Democrats, I guess, don't understand consent because they keep asking over and over again. No means no. Next time you call the president a rapist or anything, just remember when he kept asking after we already said no. Okay, I'm back. I can hear you. Go on with the story. I heard you. Go on. Oh wait, they can't hear you. Hold on, they can't hear you. I can see it on the. Yeah, I know it's. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Say something now.
Testing,
Yeah, they can hear
testing,
you. Okay,
testing.
go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, she was gonna offer someone that I recommended 100K a year just to like be the regional manager, but that person like fell through. So I thought, I was reasonable. It was reasonable considering I was doing the entire job that she was about to hire someone for 100K and move them out for to ask for 40K. And that was too much for her to like instantly say yes to, which is what I needed, an instant yes to stay. Because I had dealt with a lot of retail phone repair based employer abuses before that, which I was completely ready to tolerate as long as I still got access to that ladder of economic opportunity. Kind of got cut off there. So that was kind of what cemented my Trump vote. I was like, we need more ladders. We need like
Yeah, and
we
if we
genuinely
deport
need more
20 million
ladders.
illegal alien immigrants, that's going to be 20 million more jobs, and people are going to say, "Oh, we don't want to do construction, or we don't want to do this or that. There are plenty of people that do. Plenty of people that do. Lots of
Yes.
people I went to
And
high
what
school with are still doing construction or they're doing agriculture or something like that. So don't give me that BS.
Yeah, and it's those blue collar jobs that make good men. Like in the aggregate sense, like when you're looking at larger statistics, you want to stick them in like physical labor where they have like an intellectual pursuit of some sort, where it's a passion that they're advancing humanity in one way or another. And most of the trades are that, like fucking plumbing. You're always having to learn new industry shit, and at the same time, you're having to solve ridiculous like exercises to like. I saw this one New York plumber online that had to lift a water heater above his head to actually install it into this fucking New York loft. Like, uh, how do you do that? That shit's like 90, 100 pounds. And just the force of will of I need to get it done for the pay made it happen. And it's like if you ever
Yeah.
bring a blue collar guy to the gym, he could just go in and just bench like what the weightlifters have been working years to do just because the blue collar dude, it's just like
Yep, I'm with you
instinct. And
100%.
it's
But let's go back into
so fucking
not
cool.
to interrupt you, but let's go back into a little bit about the place that you worked on, the place that you worked at that led to your
Yes.
kidnapping. When you started working at that place, were you already transitioned?
No. So when I started working there, right before I started working there, I got like the itch really bad because like the ladder went away, especially, and then I went, to this place. I got hired at this place, and I really, especially because he had that mafioso attitude, kind of. I really hoped that he would give me the ladder as well. Um, so like I was like go in there, and then one day he was like, "You can't have facial hair here. You can't do that. You look like shit with facial hair." Like this is the kind of guy to never tell someone a lie. So I was like, okay, this is for real. But that facial hair was like it was like a protective layer preventing me from being trans, I think, for sure.
So the facial hair
Um,
was the final thing. Once you transitioned and you went to and you were at that company, like did you never use any of the employees' bathrooms? Were they separated by gender? Did you ever go into the woman's bathroom before in the past? Like you can be completely honest with me. I'm not going
I
to
think I think that's part of what made me transition too. The incentive of like, why not? Because the bathroom was an all gender single bathroom that we all had to share, all the employees there. And it had a sign on it that said all gender. I didn't even think
when
of
did you
that.
develop this idea though that trans women shouldn't go into real women's bathrooms? Was it part of your conservative journey or did you figure this out as you transitioned and kept your political identity? Because I watched some of your older videos, and before your transition, it seems you had the same political identity as you have now.
Yeah, so honestly, back then, I thought the other way around. Even though I had a similar ideas, I just didn't understand like the full magnitude of who we're allowing in because in my head I just thought of like a completely normal passing trans girl that has no ill intentions, just going in the bathroom with the girl, using it, not being clocked and leaving. Okay. In reality, um, legislation is made like to prevent like rare case scenarios. So even if it is a rare case scenario, we should probably use legislation to prevent someone with a weapon from going into that room. And especially like as when I worked at Walgreens briefly, and they had like a strict policy: trans girls use the girls' bathroom, and I wasn't passing as much as I am now. So it felt like kind of violating for me because I was just like, I feel like I am pushing an uncomfortability and a level of alertness onto these females that like they don't deserve. Like these were just random old lady customers walking into Walgreens to fucking like use the pharmacy or buy freaking hard candies, you know? So I ended up getting like a UTI from that place. Like not like a diagnosed one, but just because I ended up holding it eventually. I figured out if I got 8 hour shifts, I could totally hold it for the 8 hours as long as I pee right before I go and don't be drinking liquids on my shift and then drink a bunch of liquids in the last 2 hours. So that way, you know, I don't get super dehydrated. And I just kind of made it work. And that's why I think like a lot of this liberal stuff about like trans girls have to use the women's bathroom, it's not really fair
Yeah,
to like
you're
people
gonna
like
garner a
me.
little bit more respect, especially from the majority of the women in this country. Rather, Democrats want to say, "Oh, you can use the bathroom." A lot of real women, even on the Democrat side, are gonna respect you a lot more for making that decision because they do realize that it's gonna make it a difficult situation, especially if you have to use the bathroom. But we also want to keep it so that bathrooms are based on your biological sex. But
Yes,
there are
and
other ways we could solve the problem. I mean, we could do family. There's family bathrooms. There's non-gendered single stall bathrooms where it's a door that closes and no one else can come in and it's locked. But it doesn't seem like that's
oh,
the
I
solution that they're pushing for. They're just pushing for trans women get to go into women's bathrooms. It doesn't matter if they're passing. It doesn't matter if they have makeup. It doesn't matter if they have weave. It doesn't matter if they have long hair. None of that matters. All you have to do is say that you're a woman and you can walk in there.
and that's like troubling for me because it gives a loophole for people to get harassed and also uncomfortable scenarios where like the net suffering goes up. You know, I understand the trans argument from liberals where they're like, we need to make them uncomfortable so that we could push the needle. But for me, I'm just looking at God. And what is God thinking of me? He's fucking thinking like, are you going out of your way to make these people uncomfortable? Right? Are you making these people suffer needlessly? Like that's what it comes down to. So that's why I'm not popping up in the women's bathroom unless like I have to keep my job.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. You know, let's
And
see. Go ahead.
I think a
Sorry.
majority of people of like the trans people yelling about bathrooms are trans men who want to use the men's bathroom, but they're worried about like being clocked as like a female in in the men's bathroom and getting kicked out. And like straight up, I don't like that happened to me only once, and like they were pretty polite about it. And it's also like maybe we should just make the law so that we got a equal access bathroom that anybody could use, and then we have a separate women's only bathroom for women that feel like they need that
I
bit
can
of
agree on
protection
that.
because
Even as
that's
far as the
yo.
men's bathroom goes, people are going to say, well, you got a double standard, yada, yada, yada. But I don't really have a double standard because the facts are people that are born as men have the same crime rate as men do. It doesn't matter if you transition or not. You're always, statistically speaking, I've seen studies out there showing that transgender women have the same crime rate as biological men. And not to
And it's
mention,
a
they
hundred.
have bigger muscle mass and bigger bones. I know you mentioned you're 5'3", so you might be a little bit of an exception. But on average,
No,
they have
I
bigger
still got
hands,
big
bigger
bones.
bones.
Yeah, I still got big bones. I'm cool like that. So like, yeah, I think here's what I would push back on. The sign outside the men's bathroom. I think it should be changed. Abolish the men's bathroom. Just put it as just fucking bathroom, all gender bathroom with like a weird logo of like a fucking just different people or some shit. Okay? Because then no one has a problem. They all walk in. Unless there's like one specific trans dude that's like, I won't go in a bathroom unless it says it's for men. Like, because I need it to affirm my gender. It's like, maybe we should
I've
have a sliding
asked,
sign on it,
I've
like
asked
a sign
transgender
that you
women
could
before.
slide.
I've asked transgender women before. I said, would you be okay if there was one bathroom that said transgender woman and then a bathroom that said real women or just said woman on it? Would you go to the transgender woman's bathroom? And they've all told me no because it has to affirm their gender, basically.
What? I would love that, yo. Like taxpayer money just for me, putting that aside for me to not bother anyone. That's inviting me to whatever space it is, be it a mall or whatever, and saying your kind is welcome here, and we make a space for your kind so that you don't disturb everyone else, which is kind of the issue right now. It's not necessarily that like there's just not a place that's undisturbable, really, it seems like, in my experience. And you're 100% right. That needs to change. I think I am wrong in just holding it all the time, and there should be a solution, but I am
I
scared of the
agree
porta
with you there. I
potty
don't think you deserve
solution.
to hold it all the time, but I still have my same position. But as far as the men's bathroom goes, someone said, "Well, we don't want to hear, beautiful women going into the if we took away them." I'll just explain to what you said again. Basically, you said that we should have a bathroom that says women, and then the second bathroom, instead of just saying men, it can say, all genders or everyone can come into there. I mean, I don't think real women would go into that bathroom. They'd probably go into the bathroom that says woman's bathroom. Unless they
Yeah,
have
and
some
I
kind
mean,
of
they
thing where
can.
the women want to go into there, then I don't know why they would want to. I imagine this all
It's like,
genders bathroom would be pretty messy with everyone coming in and out.
so there's this huge issue with interstates, all right, where you got commuters and cargo on the same roadway. The New Jersey Turnpike solved this in a really good way. What they did is they have standard 3 lanes on one side that you could go into when you enter the roadway. That's trucks and cars, and you got 3 lanes on the other side that's only for cars, and they have all the same exits. But if you look at them, the ones for trucks and cars has trucks and cars, and the one that only has cars. I think that's an applicable thing here. Like, just because they're both 3 lanes doesn't mean that the cars going into the truck one is going to restrict the movement of the trucks or anything. Like, um, just because like the men's has 3 stalls, women's has 3 stalls, it's not going to like seriously impact things, is what I'm saying. If the women go into the men's bathroom, it's like not a big deal. Like trucks going on the or cars going on the truck side of the New Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, as
The
long as
the
women have their own
cars
bathroom that they can say is their safe space and they don't
exactly
have to deal with anyone else coming in there, then I think that's
exactly.
perfectly
They got the
fine.
choice to use the general purpose one, but then they also got the it's kind of like a HOV lane, like it's only I keep on doing traffic analogies, but that's the only way I could think of these things.
Someone says all gender bathrooms is a single restroom, so it's safer for transgender people. Well, that's one way to do it. But then how if you have a very busy place are you going to let everyone in? It's one person at a time. There's a very long. Have
Yeah.
you ever been to a restaurant with there's one bathroom and one toilet? There's a very
You ever been
very
to
long
you ever been
line.
to a music show with the line of porta potties?
Oh,
Even
those
if
are
you had like
horrible.
infinite single bathrooms, it'd be the same thing basically, just a line of porta potties, which is what we want to avoid. And also like in high school, like everyone always vaped in the bathrooms. There's like tons of like weird, funny stuff that happened in the bathrooms, and I'm like, yeah, like if you make every bathroom single, there's no longer like any of that hilarity. Like this one time there was a vape circle, and freaking, of course, I'm in the circle because I'm wrong like that, and I'm vaping, and I'm like, this is cool. We're just like passing each other's vapes, like tasting them. And then this kid comes in, and he was like a senior, a quiet one, like straight A's and everything. He like pushes us out the way, runs to the back of the stall, slams down, just loudest shit I've ever heard. like the floor shook, and the next bathroom overheard it, and like the smell was pungent and immediate, and it was the funniest thing ever because he said, "I'm sorry, I clogged up your vape room with my shit stank," and it, like, I will
Oh,
never
that
forget
is
that. Never in my
that really
life.
grinds my gears. That really grinds my gears. Like, what the hell?
What part of it?
All of it. I don't know. All of it just grinds my gears. I don't know. I just saw someone in the comments said, someone section say he's not very angry, he's very calm. So I just wanted to say that. Someone said trans people don't bother me. It's just that they're trying to push it on us. Do you think they are trying to push it on us? Do you think they're trying to push it on the kids? Because there's 15 transgender Netflix cartoons on Netflix for targeted towards children. It's like six and older.
Teaching them non-conforming gender ideology, some wild shit like that. And it's just like, no. Like, I waited till I was an adult, and I waited till the Trump presidency just to be sure of myself, because during the Biden presidency, they were pushing it a lot, and promoting it a lot. So like I had to wait for that to clear out of the air before I could pursue like who I truly am. And that's kind of messed up because the Democrats kind of delayed my transition a little bit effectively. You get what I'm
I
saying?
mean that yeah, I mean literally Biden's health secretary was a transgender woman and I'm sorry, but that person was not anywhere close to passing whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like that person was crazy because like they were saying like I can't remember, but they were overweight when they said
Oh yeah,
something
they
about
were
skinny
overweight.
people aren't healthy or something like that. And
Yeah, I
I
remember
remember it was
that.
the
I
funniest
remember
thing to
that.
me back then.
I mean,
That was a
I just
crazy
don't
overstatement,
understand.
though.
It's that individual seemed confused in more than one way. Like, I don't understand how that could be our health secretary. I truly don't even understand that. That's a DEI hire, 1,000%. That's a DEI
Didn't
hire, just
we?
like Kamala Harris was a DEI hire.
Didn't we have like a trans secretary of war at one point, or was it just like in the war
No, not
cabinet?
that I know of.
Okay, well, there's someone in the defense. It was the department back then. That was like not passing very outwardly trans. And I don't know, that one was funny because like our enemies gotta be scared of us at that point. Like if there's
I don't know. I imagine Iran seeing
like that's
someone that's
psychological
trans and they just
warfare.
laugh at them. They like I know those radical Muslims over there. They'll laugh at women. They'll laugh at gays. They'll laugh at trans. They'll laugh at anybody. That's why I don't think we need a woman president. I'm not saying that women are completely unfit to be president, but dealing with these other Middle Eastern countries, there's 55 Muslim countries that'll never respect a woman leader, especially the president of the United States of America. I
I've
mean,
never thought of that before.
that's just the way I look
Genuinely,
at it.
that that's a real concern that I never thought about. And also, like, yeah, trying to do business with the Chinese is gonna be pretty hard too.
Yeah, not even just the
Like,
Middle East, probably Asia.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
are you hoping for the next president?
um, but I hope Trump runs again. Obviously, that's the goaded choice because if he runs again, that opens things up for long-term presidents where we could actually get things done. Because everyone's like, well, if he comes in again, he's probably going to die. But it's like the Democrats wanted Obama for a third term so bad, and if they had the legislate, like the if the door was open to do it, they would have done it. So I
I
think
mean,
it's good for
FDR ran four
everyone to
times
open that
for a
door.
president. I mean, he was president four times. He died in his fourth term. Then the Constitution was changed after that, but there's ways that we can either get around that, or we could change it. But I mean, Democrats seem to get around the Second Amendment pretty well in California and New York. It's basically impossible to own a firearm.
Yeah, I think it could be argued like the two consecutive term. argument is like so fire because like the Democrats in my life that I hear talk about it are like, well, they could push that through the courts. That one's scary, basically, which means that they know it has an element of validity to it because they would have done it with Obama.
They said,
They're
don't destroy your
experts on this stuff.
democracy. Well, Canada has a prime minister, and as long as they keep getting elected, they can run for life. They can keep
Yeah,
running and
literally.
running and running and running in Canada. Their political offices, as long as they get elected, they can keep in office. There's no term limits over there in Canada. And you guys think they have a wonderful democracy. You guys think it's so good. Someone said, how have they got
Yeah.
past the Second Amendment? I can answer that question very easily. There was literally a Supreme Court case in New York that stated that they have to be able to have firearms for home protection and not just for hunting and not just for militia, but for protection of your house, protection of yourself, hunting, anything you want to do. They brought this to the Supreme Court and they won. And when they won, they told California and New York that they have to start issuing handgun permits. They have to start issuing permits for pistols. And New York City has refused to do that. The only people that actually manage to get their permits are people that sue the city of New York City. They have to pay at least a couple $100, if not more, and then they can sue the city and get their firearms permit. But it's a long, long process. A long,
If
long
you're
process.
registering as a proof of household on your taxes, you also have to provide proof of a firearm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's you shouldn't be
Well,
able
I
to
don't think they
claim
should
that
do that.
without
I think they
legally
should just
owning a firearm.
anyone should be able to get what they want. At the end of the day, criminals are going to get it regardless. Like criminals aren't doing background checks, so what difference does it make?
Exactly. And when I was in the hood, you should have seen how guns just get tossed around and
Oh, you can
switch
buy a gun
hands.
from a
Like,
crackhead that stole it from someone for $20. Why would a
oh, and the
criminal
worst
go to a
part
gun
is
store and
that
spend $500 on a Glock when you can go steal it or you can go buy it from a crackhead?
this one time I was at the Section 8 village, and I had an older friend who just couldn't grow up, right? So he couldn't like go into unk status, but he's already like 43, still trying to act like a YN. And it was just the funniest thing. But like, he had never owned a pistol, only ridiculously big guns that he could not walk with. So if he ever brought his gun anywhere, he was fucking like putting it in his pants and like wobbling with it fucking, and he looked so silly, and he would like pull it out on little kids that had their own guns because you know all the 14, 13-year-olds have guns here, and he'd be like, I'm like that too, little kid. And it's like, you're 40 something, bro, get the gangster culture out of your head. But anyways, he was having a birthday barbecue, and me and my friend, the one that kidnapped me, we went over. This is before he kidnapped me, but back when we were cool, we went over there, and he's like, hey, you're my favorite gun owner. Let me show you my new gun. Someone just gave this to me like 5 minutes ago. And he like pulls out like a, a 38, like not revolver, but like something that you put bullets into, put the clip in with a mismatched clip, a 9 millimeter, a 45, and then a 38 bullet in backwards into the clip. And he's like, "Look, check this out, like terrible gun safety." And I just had to let me get this shit apart. These bullets don't go in here. What are you doing? All right, here you go. It was very funny. So the hood is so wild with guns that they have a surplus inventory of guns to just pull. Like, oh, I got this bullet. I got this bullet. I
Yeah,
got this
there's way
clip
more
because the clip
guns than people. But
for a
could you
free
give us
birthday
like
gift for
a
someone.
could you give us like a condensed or could you give us a short story about the kidnapping? So you started working at this place, the guy was the mafia leader. We want to hear everything. Try to tell it in 5 to 10 minutes if you can. Because I know it's a long, detailed story.
All right. I feel like the big part that I left out was actually my friend's arc of like why he actually went crazy. So like when I first met him, he's like a drug dealer, homosexual. So he would like run through females, basically take them for everything they got. And he would also sell drugs while he was doing it, and then he'd move on to the next one because that's just what he came from because he got kicked out at 12. And I was like, I'm gonna teach you better. Come stay with me. And I was a guy back then too. Um, um, I'm like, I am gonna be a girl eventually, but still, like, I could teach you better, right? I'm gonna drop all the old man knowledge on you before I dip out of manhood. All right. So then, I got his ass together. He got like a job. He started getting swagged out, and then he went to the club one night with a few of his friends, and I'd always told him like, there's a girl out there for you, and you think that you're a homosexual, but you're just a high maintenance man that needs a rich ass woman, okay? And a girl calls him over from across the club. He walks up to her. She pulls him, has her go to, or has him go to her place afterwards, and she Ubers him, and then she has him kick out her friend, like as a bonding thing, and then they instantly hit it off, and then like month and a half later, they were engaged, and he's living over there. And I'm like, oh my god, he did it. He made it. And then he finds out that she is the daughter of a Ukrainian Italian, sorry, a Ukrainian oligarch and an Italian oligarch, and they had a kid, and that's her. And she was just giving him money, and his dumbass was not using it wisely. Like he was walking around the hood with it, just kind of like handing it out to everyone that had ever been nice to him. And I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that, man, because that money is not infinite. You know, her parents gonna cut her off, so her parents cut her off eventually. Um, but that's a different topic. Anyways, one day she stops responding to him like while he was out and about, and then he sees her location and she is on her way to Italy. Like, huh? She's leaving the country? What? So he tries to text her like, hey, like, is the place still good? Can I go to the place? So I'm like, okay. So I go to the place with them. Okay. He's like, wait down here so I could fight whatever dude is inside of here. Okay. So then I have to wait at the bottom of the apartments. I wait for like minutes and it seems like forever. I'm worried. I'm worried he got jumped or something. And he comes down. He's like, you gotta fucking look at this. What the fuck? And he had come in and just been completely shook because she left the house completely ransacked everywhere. Like everything was everywhere. His stuff was like all mixed in with her stuff, and like it looked like she had a mental breakdown, freak out, and the oven was open at max blast as well. And there was like cleaning chemical buckets everywhere, fans on them. And we're like, what the fuck is this? So and I was like, something's weird here. Just grab some of your stuff. Let's get out of here. You stay with me for a while. So we do that. And then she hits him up and she says, you gave me an infectious disease. So he gave her MRSA. And she was a nurse in training at the local hospital university, basically. So she instantly presents with MRSA, tests herself for MRSA. And she's like, shit, I can't get timely treatment in the US for MRSA, so I might die. Fuck it, I'm fleeing the country. And then her dumbass, as she's like leaving, she called his probation officer to like spill the beans on like everything he had done wrong and whatnot. But this is like fresh Trump era probation officer, like a Trump hire. So she's like, you're fucking with an American patriot right now, and you're trying to fuck up his life from Italy. Yeah, citizenship revoked. So she got her citizenship revoked. And then obviously he can never see her again. They can never make up. They can never do anything to get it back together. And that's basically when he broke. Like the night after that, I would say, and that's when he like took my gun. Because I would keep my gun like in my cat tree, if that makes sense, because the cat tree it's taller than most humans. So if you put it on top of the cat tree when you come inside, because you have to carry it with you because it's St. Louis. When you do that, it's like a very casual way to set it down, and it's also putting it out of sight, out of mind, so you can still hang out with people without it being there and yelling at them, you know. But it's also at a quick drawing distance if you need it. So I kept it up there, but obviously because it's taller than me, I don't know how long it was gone for because I didn't actually need it for like 2 days. And then I go up and it's gone. And I was like, fuck, shit. So then, like, when I confronted him about it, that's when he pistol whipped me. And, like, he's like, I can't remember fully what he was saying at the time because it was like, it was really traumatizing. And then he's like, because he also took those jiggas at the same time because he was clearly having a skits episode. He's like, I need Molly quick. But then he gets laced. It's meth. And he has a
How
bag of
long did
these
he hold
jiggas.
you at gunpoint for?
Every waking moment, I was at my house for like 3 months.
He kidnapped you for 3 months?
Yeah, from like the beginning of
How did you go to
April.
work? Or how did you pay the bill?
He knew the boss man, basically. The boss man was mafia who was employing him. So I was fucked from every angle, no way out. That's why when I escaped is basically when I quit my job too. Because I was able to run away from the whole shit, the whole shebang that way. Um, where was I? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, he had the jiggas in the bag, and then I'm at gunpoint, obviously. So then, like, I'm like, no, I'm not taking the jiggas with you because he wanted me to take the jiggas with him. So then he like forced some in my mouth, and that was traumatizing. If you've ever been forced to do like hard drugs, that shit is like terrible. So that's why I just can't like ever forgive him again. Even though I know it's like a schizophrenic episode. Like, how are you gonna like make someone do drugs? Like hard drugs. Like it's one thing to peer pressure your friends in a movie to smoke weed, right? But to like genuinely shove pills into a girl's mouth. Because at that point, like right before I had gotten the gunpoint thing happened. Right before that is when I fully stepped into the trans identity of never expiring, if that makes sense. When you're still in the femboy stage, you expire sometimes, and then you're like a guy for a day or two. But like I had just stepped into that period where like you're just feminine full time and you got to stick to it. You got to make sure everything's right, basically. Um, so it's just really a very strange experience, and
Yeah, I understand that.
it probably cemented
When was
my
the
trans
moment? Go ahead.
identity.
Sorry. When was the moment you
Well,
realized that you were a Trump supporter, that you were going to vote for Trump?
I got fired from a job once because they needed to restaff the location with all LGBTQ in order to qualify
For the
for like
tax
a tax
credits?
break. And they even sat me down and like showed me, and they're like, "We're so sorry, and we'll put in a great recommendation for whatever other store you apply to." And I'm like, "You didn't even set up a store for me to go to. Like, this is a corporate company, so they're assholes, anyways." But nonetheless, they were still kind of kind to me, and they still gave me a good reference at least. But the bullshit about it is, I got hired there for like only a month, and when I got hired there, obviously I was like a straight presenting dude, like but with tendencies. But I also came from a very blue family, and realistically, I was bi back then. But I didn't qualify for the position because I wasn't like outright. I didn't look the part, and they asked me a question. They said, "What do you think about gender?" And I said specifically, "Listen, I will call you exactly what you asked me to call you, and I will study however you need me to figure it out. I don't know much right now. That's because I'm new to it and I don't know anyone." Okay. And then when they did let me go, they were like, "That was what made you like very cis to us. Like the most cis thing you could have said." And I was like, "What?" I was like, I felt like I was very liberal there, like being like, yes, and like how are they going to deny me like working there off of that? So it was very, very weird, most definitely. Weirdest experience ever. And at that point, I decided anything is better than whatever Biden was doing with those ESG tax breaks enforced by the SEC. It was very, very weird. And it just gave me a weird feeling that we were hurting people unnecessarily in the name of climate change reduction, which was ridiculous, if I may
Was it
add.
DEI or climate change reduction?
So it wasn't DEI that affected me. It was specifically one of his executive orders on climate change, empowered the EPA to change the ESG regulations for the time. And the ESG regulations give specific tax breaks basically on a sliding scale based on race, gender, and age. So at the top of the scale was employees that were Black, non-gender conforming, and 35 to 39. And at the very bottom of the scale was straight white dudes over 50, if that makes sense. And I was looking at that and I'm like, you know what? The scale should be good at the job, bad at the job. You know what I mean? Like, why aren't we
Yeah, they should be
taxing based on
hiring you
that?
and firing you based on how well you're doing. Someone dropped the super chat
Yeah,
though. They said you mentioned St. Louis. I don't go near that town without my gun nearby.
so it is. You take the police away, that's what happens. And the city has been like messed with by the Democrats for so long. And big part of why I'm an urban conservative, because we all know damn well that the cities would be flourishing a lot more under conservative administrations. I mean, just look at current conservative urban cities. They're kind of rare, but they exist, right? So Springfield, Missouri, that one goes crazy with the job market. It's really good there. Pretty damn easy to create a family. And they have crazy public transportation popping up like that. They got freeways popping up like that. And they got high rises popping up like that from downtown. And then established urban conservative cores dominate the fucking world. Okay. Like Taiwan, I forget what their capital is called, but that's a very urban conservative core. And basically, they have control over the entire Western world using the chips, right? And we have got to think that like they're not outright evil at this point. But like when we tried to get a couple of their employees, for example, so that we could bring them to our chips, they straight up locked the employees up in an unknown prison for life. And it was like 3 different employees. Um,
Yeah, that's
which is
crazy.
weird.
I didn't know about that. How do you feel about America defending them? Or how do you feel about America defending Taiwan potentially in a Chinese war in 2027?
I hate it. I hate the idea of it because I've always hated the idea that we get on our knees and suck Taiwan's dick with both hands. That shit sucks because, yo, you're telling me that we sent all of our manufacturing jobs to fucking China, and then Taiwan was actually the private economy that still had Chinese regulatory application. So they just completely dominated us in terms of trade, in terms of logistics, in terms of innovation. And then they start dominating us in terms of like a treaties, an example. So now, like, if we don't say something, they could cut off chips to another country to get that country to make us do something. Basically, the entire global economy relies on Taiwan, and that's the only reason that China isn't attacking. They need to be able to produce chips capable of holding the world's compute load on its back if they're going to destroy the fabs and TSMC, because those are the most advanced fabs that humanity has right now. And it's sad that we don't have a similar thing, but really it's just about having local mountains with silicone and regulations that allow you to have like everything in one spot next to the silicone mine. That's the only way that we could ever even try to compete with them because that's the setup that they got. Like they go and get the silicone, and then 150 feet this way, they take the silicone to get processed. And then 200 feet that way, they take the silicone to get cut into wafers. 200 feet from there, the wafers go into the actual fabbing machine. Does that make sense? Like they
Yeah.
don't they don't manufacture chips. They make chips from rock, raw rock. And unless we could do the same thing, we are never going to compete with them.
I
But
heard that
they
would
do
take
that because they got
decades
an urban
to make
conservative
something like
core.
that.
Call it the mountain lion economic plan and make private business owners like have a freaking incentive to pitch into it or
Give them
something.
tax
We could totally do
free.
it.
Give them
Yeah, we could
tax free
totally.
for life.
Yeah, yeah, we could totally do that. Um, and then another urban conservative core is Tel Aviv, yo. I just gotta say, they're holding their motherfucking own geopolitically right now. Like,
Who?
and Tel Aviv,
Oh, Tel Aviv,
Israel.
Israel?
Mm-hmm. And basically, what I've kind of come to learn from these places is that we've seen the existence of like city states throughout history. Um, but I think this is like the first time we're seeing like kind of state cities where the city has a huge outsized power over the geopolitical region that it controls, but it's only actually responsible for a small area outside of its city perimeter, which obviously, people are trying to change that
What do you mean by
with
that?
Taiwan.
What do you mean by that? Like they have a, I mean, it's the capital.
Like,
What's the
because
difference between Tel Aviv and any other capital in the world?
Tel Aviv has freeways and high density. It's
Oh yeah,
basically a
did you see they're building
combination.
underground railroads? Or not railroads,
Hmm.
sorry, underground light rails?
Yeah, and it's cool, but it's the only combination that you see super dense urban cores next to freeways to give them freedom of access. Like these places, boom. Like every Chinese CBD is on its way up because they're putting urban cores next to freeways. Now, it's not working as well because Chinese citizens don't have the liberties that other citizens in other countries have when it comes to freedom of movement. So the freeway doesn't make as much of a difference to the actual local economy and trade itself. But Taiwan and Tel Aviv, they couldn't do what they do without their freeway systems next to serious urban cores because that urban core has a manufacturing facility in it for Taiwan. And for Israel, the urban core basically is the holdout from the local. Basically, the only way that they could be waging this brutal war that they have to wage against the Palestinians is because they have such a outsized influence coming from their downtown, because you could mobilize a ton of people super quick and send them out. And you could also do the same thing with any downtown oriented good or development. Just increase the density too, and you can only imagine. So it's like, let's say you need to fucking turn bananas into pudding, okay? And you live in an area near Israel. It always makes sense to go get that shit done at Tel Aviv, if that makes sense, because
So what would you
it's so
change with
cheap
Tel
there
Aviv?
and so fast. I would make the central business district much bigger. I would let it grow, you
Is
know.
there even room
I
for
feel like
that?
that's what the Gaza Strip is getting annexed for, right?
But isn't Tel Aviv like a couple hundred miles away from Gaza?
No, they're right next door, basically. So that main roadway that I was talking about in Palestine, that's like just the main spine, all the roads go to it like a leaf, and it's just kind of showing like how they did not give a shit about planning other than being like a suburb or a tertiary community of Tel Aviv, because that road it goes into the main freeway for Tel Aviv. Like the main cross freeway across town is the same main street as Palestine, if that makes sense. Um, but the two through lanes in Palestine, they're rubble, and then you go into Tel Aviv, and it's like, oh shit, am I in a spaceship? I'm multiple stories up.
Yeah, I
Oh, I'm
got
tunnels
2 minutes
down.
left before I gotta pull my next guest in here. So, is there any final things you wanted to say? Not to interrupt you here, but
No,
give
no.
yourself a quick
I'm
shout
always
out then.
happy. Yeah, I'm always happy to come on. You guys need to check out my channel. It's called The Urban Conservative on YouTube. I specialize in urban design and trying to fix cities from what liberals have done to it for the past 80 years. So thank you guys, hella.
Lena, I'll read this question. Lena Kasner, which is another transgender woman, says, "Why call this a debate if you aren't going to debate?" Well, I tried to look for things that we disagreed on. There really wasn't too much that we disagreed on, so I'm not really sure how we're going to debate if there's not much that we disagree on.
Whenever I have pushback, I
There
try and
was
let
some
you know
pushbacks for
right
sure.
away.
No, there was pushback, but it wasn't like a full blown debate.
Yeah, I
Also,
need to debate
we
with
have someone that's coming
old
on. He's
dude.
coming on the next stream, and he wants to give you a little bit of praise. So watch a couple minutes of the next stream if you have some time, because he wants to give you some praise. Apparently, that's what he's saying.
Well, that's awesome. I'll head out now. I think you guys are super awesome, and thanks for having me on again, for real.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Thank you for coming. Peace out.
See you guys.
Well, guys, come back for the next stream. We're gonna have Dustley on, and we're gonna get his takes on this individual. We'll be back. We'll be back though. Peace out, guys. We'll be back in 5 minutes, maybe. You'll enjoy the stream.